St. Anthony Audio presents Saint Blaise, from the Golden Legend, Lives of the Saints, by Jacobus de Voragine. Blaise comes from blondus, sweet, or it comes from bella, robe, and sior, small, for he was sweet in his speech, clothed with the robe of virtue, and small through the humility of his actions. Blaise had won such fame by his gentleness and holiness that the Christians of Cappadocia elected him their bishop. And when the persecutions of Diocletian compelled him to quit his bishopric, he took refuge in a cave and there led the life of a hermit. The birds brought his food to him and came to him in flocks, not flying away until he had blessed them. And when any of them was ailing, it came to him and was restored to health. One day, the governor's men had hunted over the countryside without finding any game, and come to the place where St. Blaise had set up his dwelling. They saw a great gathering of birds and other animals crowding about the hermit as if to seek his protection. And as it turned out, the huntsmen could not lay a hand on any of them. Overcome with surprise, they made this known to their master, who ordered the hermit to be brought to him. That very night, St. Blaise thrice saw Christ in a dream, saying to him, "Arise, and offer sacrifice to me." Whereupon the soldiers came up and said, "Come, the governor summons thee." And St. Blaise answered, "Welcome, my children. I see now that God has not forgotten me." Throughout the journey, Blaise preached incessantly and performed many miracles in the sight of his warders. A woman brought to him her son, who had a fishbone caught in his throat, and setting him down at the hermit's feet, tearfully besought him to heal the child. And St. Blaise, extending his hands over him, prayed God to cure him, and instantly the child was made well. Another woman, who was very poor, came and asked the saint to obtain the return of her only pig, which had been carried off by a wolf. And the saint, smiling, said to her, "Good woman, be not troubled. Thy pig will be returned to thee." And at that very moment, the wolf was seen running toward them, bringing back to the widow the pig which he had stolen. As soon as he was come to the city, St. Blaise was thrown into prison. On the morrow, the governor arraigned him, and sought at first to beguile him with soft words, saying, "Greetings, Blaise, friend of the gods." And Blaise returned, "Greetings to thee likewise, excellent governor. But give not the name of gods to the demons who are burning in hell with those who honor them." Infuriated, the governor had him beaten with rods and led back to prison. And Blaise said to him, "Fool, thinkest thou that thy punishments will rob me of the love of God, who is within me, and who gives me the strength to bear any pain whatsoever?" And when the widow to whom he had restored the pig learned that he was in prison, she killed the pig and sent the head and feet to the saint, together with a loaf and a tallow candle. And St. Blaise, after he had appeased his hunger, sent word to the widow, "Offer a candle every year in the church which shall bear my name, and it will be well with thee, and with all who shall do in like manner." This the widow did each year, and lived prosperously thenceforth. Meanwhile, the governor, seeing that he could not force the saint to worship the idols, had him bound to a stake, and commanded that his flesh be torn with iron spikes, after which he was again led back to the jail. 7 women, however, followed the saint, and gathered up the drops of his blood. The governor ordered them to be seized, and tried to force them to sacrifice to the gods. But they said, "If it be thy wish that we adore thy gods, have them brought to the bank of the pond, and when they have been washed, we shall adore them." To this the governor gladly consented, and the 7 women laid hands on the idols and threw them into the middle of the pond, saying, "Now we shall see if these be gods." And when the governor, angered beyond measure, labored his officers with reproaches for allowing such a sacrilege, the 7 women said to him, "If these idols had been gods, they would surely have foreseen what we had in mind to do to them." Then the prefect made ready molten lead iron rakes, and 7 iron helmets reddened in the fire, and, besides these, 7 linen robes. And he told the women to choose between the robes and the most frightful torments. Then one of the women, who was the mother of 2 small children, laid hold of the robes and threw them into the fire. And her babe said to her, "Dearest mother, do not leave us behind, but as thou hast plenished us with the sweetness of thy milk, so now fill us with the sweetness of the kingdom of heaven." Then the governor had them lashed to the stake, and the executioners laid open their flesh with iron points. But their flesh remained white as snow, and from it milk spurted forth instead of blood. And while they were undergoing these tortures, an angel appeared to them and comforted them with the words, "Be without fear, for the good workman, who has well commenced his task and finishes it as well, shall have his reward." Then the governor had them thrown into a burning furnace, but the fire was quenched forthwith, and they emerged unharmed. And the governor said to them, "Have done now with your sorceries, and adore our gods." But they answered, "Finish what thou hast begun, for already the gates of heaven stand open for us." The governor therefore commanded that their heads be cut off. And when the headsmen drew near, they fell to their knees and prayed as follows: "O God, who hast delivered us from the powers of darkness and has led us toward the light, receive our souls into eternal life." Whereupon their heads were severed, and they departed to heaven. Next, the governor summoned Saint Blaise anew, and said to him, "For the last time, wilt thou or wilt thou not adore the gods?" And Blaise responded, "Blasphemer, I fear not thy threats. Here is my body, do with it as thou seest fit." And the governor gave order to cast him into the pond. But Saint Blaise made the sign of the cross over the waters of the pond, and at once they became as firm as the dry earth. And the saint said, "If your gods are true gods, give proof of their power by walking upon this water." And 65 men walked into the water and were drowned. An angel then came down to Saint Blaise and said to him, "Blaise, come out of the pond, and go to receive the crown which God has prepared for thee." And when he came out of the water, the governor said to him, "Dost thou still refuse to adore the gods?" To which Blaise answered, "Know this, wretch, that I am a servant of Christ, and cannot adore demons." The governor sentenced him to be beheaded, and the saint, before offering his neck to the headsman, prayed to God that all who should be suffering from a malady of the throat, and should implore his aid, might be heard and healed. And a voice from heaven said to him that his prayer was granted. Then the saint was beheaded, and the 2 children with him. This martyrdom took place about the year of the Lord 287. We celebrate the feast of Saint Blaise every year on the 3rd of February. If you enjoyed today's legend, please click the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And be sure to turn on all notifications. That way, you'll never miss out on another great legend or great truth of our most holy Roman Catholic faith. Thanks again for listening, and God bless.